Hello YouTubers and welcome to Sour Dreams. This is a brand new YouTube channel without any scripts and with very little idea of what I'm actually doing. Um, I'm your host Adam, and the plan I've got in my mind for this channel is pretty much to discourage people from going to sleep. I think there's a market for that on YouTube. I'm not sure where, but I'm sure it's out there. You're lying awake in bed at night and at some point you just go, fuck it, I might as well stay awake for the entirety and yeah, let's just listen to some weird or scary shit that's out in this big blue world of ours. um, I personally have always enjoyed reading like the weird and wonderful, creepy and eerie kind of stories that get scattered around the internet, mostly on Reddit. Though I never actually really sign in myself. I'm not even sure if I have an account. Um, I'd really love to though is publish some of these stories that I do read out there for the audio domain, for any listeners out there, because if it's late at night, you might not necessarily want to be reading. Uh, I don't know, like if you've got an iPad and the iPad light is just resting on you and comes crashing down on your head, it might be just easier to, I don't know, put in some earphones and listen to my voice instead. Who knows? Maybe it does something for you. I'm getting new to this whole setup, and I've just actually bought this cheap microphone that's sitting in front of me, and I don't really have any audio mixer style setups, or actually I don't know any of the names of anything that could um, help with any audio. So that's for a few videos time, I think, when I've started to done this a bit more. So I do apologize in advance for my lack of expertise because I still don't know what I'm doing. Um, I will try and go on Reddit a bit more though, especially if this YouTube channel tries gains traction. I don't know, try and dig through some stories I've read on there. Yeah, I'll try and ask for permissions, obviously, before I do read someone's story, and I'll talk with the original poster. Sorry, I'll talk with the original poster before I actually make the broadcast because they might not necessarily want their story on YouTube, and YouTube can be notoriously difficult to certain people for content they put out. Um, Honest a lot of the time, yes, but the comment sections are less than pleasant. Um, that's good. I love it. Sometimes I won't even watch the YouTube video. I'll just skip down and read the comments. I don't even know what I'm watching. Um, I think once I've got my system set up in order, though, I can focus on what direction to take this YouTube channel. I'm keeping it pretty broad at the moment because I haven't really decided in my head what exactly to go with. Um, I just figured Sour Dreams because it's like Sweet Dreams, but opposite day. This channel, in my mind, I've got it set up to play a lot like a podcast, but just done through YouTube. So in the visual side of things, especially in the beginning, probably won't be anything to write home about. As I mean, this is for going to bed or if you're sitting on a train or driving and you just have it next to you. Um, so the visual, I haven't even decided what to put as the visual for the video style, but we'll soon see. Um, but please do let me know down in the comments down below what I do need to improve on. If you do enjoy it, and that would be amazing for me, surprising but amazing. Please let me know so I can see if this is like a worthwhile endeavor for me to embark on. Yeah, any feedback from me, good or bad, is great. I mean, a barrage of negative comments um, might not make me feel great, but I wouldn't mind the occasional one or two to let me know a nice opinion, what to improve on. For example, I'm not really going through a script on this at the moment. which I know a lot of podcasters do. They have scripts organized and set, but I figured because I'm starting out, I'm just gonna wing it. I haven't decided just yet how long these videos will be. I suppose it depends on based on how long the actual stories actually go for. I'll try and always do a story within one sitting, and not break it up into parts. So anywhere from like 10 minutes to 30 minutes seems pretty decent enough to me. And naturally, all future videos, if this goes alright, won't have such a long introduction either. I'll try and just hop straight into it. But considering this is my first video, we'll play along. It'll also be a very laid-back YouTube channel, and because I'm still working out the gist of it, it'll pretty much be unfiltered, to be honest. I'll have a beer, I'll eat some food, I'll go up to the fridge, I'll have a 20-second, what are the play breaks called? Intermissions. I'll have a 20-second intermission to go to the fridge, and yeah, I'm just going to leave it as that. I've always liked unfiltered. I don't know, just makes it seem more natural, really, like you're actually just listening to someone talk to you out in the real world instead of being broadcasted to like a news station. But yeah, if I have a beer, I encourage you to do the same. Today's story, I've intentionally avoided the ending for myself, and I might do that from now on as well, to keep the surprise for me as well. It's only a short one, but I'll put the link with all the details down below as we get into it a bit more. The actual title of it is called I Found Something Living in My Attic. And it was written, or was published last July actually, by a man by the name of Riley Weidler. I do apologize for pronouncing that wrong, but I will put it down in the description below if you do want to check out that actual website. It's not on Reddit, it's actually seems to be a website dedicated purely to creepy stories, so yeah. Alright, let's begin. I've wasted about 7 minutes of your valuable time, so I'll get straight into it. I Found Something Living in My Attic by Riley Weidler. 3 weeks ago, my fiancée, Jenny, and I moved into a beautiful old home in the outer suburbs of Boston. Jenny and I met 10 years ago at Boston College and have stuck together as I toiled through medical school and she supported the two of us with her job as a paralegal. I bought this old house to celebrate finishing my residency and as a way to thank Jenny for working so hard to provide us while I chased my dream of becoming a doctor. The house is more than 100 years old, has been sitting empty for more than 10 years and needs a lot of work. Probably paid more than I should have for a house needing so much extra work, but I could imagine Jenny and I raising a family and living here for the rest of our lives. Well, that changed soon after we moved in, and I found something terrible living in our attic. The first few days in our new home passed in a blur as we coordinated furniture deliveries, stocked the house with food, and planned for future renovations. By the 5th night, the high of moving into our new home had worn off. Only then did I begin to notice signs of habitation in the supposedly vacant house. On the 5th night, Jenny and I fell asleep after an exhausting evening of unpacking and moving furniture around. I awoke in the middle of the night with a full bladder and groggily shuffled toward the bathroom to relieve myself. I stopped dead in my tracks only a few steps from the bathroom. Faint moans floated through the vents in the ceiling, and I could have sworn that I heard the distant sounds of chains rattling from above. I quickly entered the bathroom and splashed cold water onto my face before stepping up onto the toilet and placing my ear up to the ceiling. I strained my neck closer to the vent when all of a sudden the bathroom light flashed on. I fell from my perch and landed hard by my side. "What the hell are you doing?" Jenny said, stifling a laugh as she helped me up. "I heard something up there," I muttered sheepishly. Looking up, I saw a crooked grin on her face and said indignantly, "Whatever, I need to piss." She laughed it off and headed back to the bedroom while I emptied my bladder. As I flushed the toilet, I could have sworn I heard heavy breathing floating down through the vent. I shook my head and told myself that I needed to get back to sleep. I had a 10-hour shift at the hospital the next day, but promised myself that I would thoroughly search the attic on my day off later in the week. The next few days passed uneventfully as I focused on work. I eventually convinced myself that the noises I had heard were common to old houses, and that creeping noises are what I signed up for when I bought the house. On my day off, I putted around the house trying to make some headway in the long list of home improvements. I hoped to cross a few of the easier tasks off the list before Jenny got home from work. After fixing the window in the kitchen, I moved upstairs to start working on the leaky faucet. However, I remembered that I promised myself that I would check out the attic. Forget the noises I had heard a week earlier. Innocent curiosity got the better of me. Unfortunately, someone had sealed the ceiling trapdoor leading to the attic. I fetched a stepladder, flathead screwdriver, and attempted to pry the door free from whatever held it. The trapdoor refused to give, and I slammed my palm against the ceiling in frustration. At that moment, I heard a definite movement above my head, as well as the soft clink of metal against metal. The movement continued for a few moments and then stopped. I beat my fist against the ceiling to try to arouse another reaction, but none came. I figured that there must be a raccoon or some other sort of large vermin stuck in the attic, and it sounded like it was caught in some sort of trap. I decided to head over to the hardware store to pick up a crowbar so I could get the animal out before it died and stunk up the house. As I pulled back into the driveway, I saw Jenny's car parked in the garage. I headed into the house, crowbar in hand, excited to prove that I was right about something living in the attic. I couldn't find Jenny on the first floor, so I headed upstairs. As I neared the top of the staircase, I noticed that the attic trapdoor was open. I called out for Jenny as I approached the ladder but received no response. My heart raced as I called out for Jenny to stop playing around. I mounted the ladder, crowbar in hand, and began to climb. A sickening stench met me halfway up the ladder, and I struggled to maintain my composure. My head cleared the top of the ladder, and I nearly lost my grip on the ladder as my eyes took in the horror before me. Human heads in varying states of decomposition adorned the slanted walls of the attic. The only source of light came from a small open window. Slight movement in the corner of the room pulled me back to the present situation. Find Jenny. I moved towards the corner, my right hand tightly gripping the crowbar, and found Jenny lying on an old blood-stained table. She was unconscious with a head wound, and it appeared as though something had been gnawing on her foot. Suddenly the trapdoor slammed shut behind me, and I heard the metallic click of a lock sliding into place. A large, dark figure emerged from the opposite side of the attic. In his hands he held a heavy chain, at the end of which was a small, emaciated dog. They slowly crept forward, and I realized to my horror that it was not a dog at the end of the chain, but an old man crawling on all fours. There wasn't any dramatic showdown that you usually see in movies. There wasn't time for that. The next few moments passed in a blur, as is typical when a person is forced into a fight or flight situation. Obviously, I wasn't going to leave Jenny behind, so I immediately charged the gruesome duo with the crowbar raised high above my head. I quickly closed the distance between us and brought the crowbar down upon the crown of the man with a sickening crunch. The large man toppled to the ground, and the old man scurried back into a dark corner, dragging the chain behind him. I unlocked the trap door and half-carried, half-dragged Jenny out of the attic and down onto the second floor, after which I immediately called the police. I've been awake for the past 24 hours and am sitting in the hospital next to Jenny right now. The doctors tell me that she will likely be released tomorrow. Her wounds were mostly superficial, a nasty gash on her head and some skin torn off her foot. Thankfully she doesn't remember much due to the blow she took to the head. A detective interviewed both of us a few hours ago. The whole situation is sickening. The large figure I had struck in the head was dead, thank God. Police have not been able to identify the man. He had no identification and his fingerprints did not show up in the system. The old man in chains was the previous owner of the home, who along with his entire family had disappeared 14 years earlier. The detective's working theory is that the large man had killed the family living in the house 14 years ago and moved into the house keeping the old man as a pet. There is no way in hell that Jenny and I are moving back into that house. I plan to call my lawyer in the morning and make plans for declaring bankruptcy. We'll be moving back to Boston as soon as Jenny is released from the hospital. Our suburban experiment has come to an abrupt and terrifying end. Whether we buy or rent next, I can't say for sure, but it will be brand new. No hidden surprises. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you did enjoy. Can't tell for myself based on just what's provided. That's a true story or not. Even if it isn't a true story, it came across as a good read, so I do hope you enjoyed it as well. Please leave a comment and likes. I don't expect anyone to subscribe, especially considering this is my first YouTube channel and I don't expect any more than 10 to 20 views for my first video. But you never know. You never know. Thank you everyone for listening. My name again is Adam. I'll be your host, and hopefully if this is a successful endeavor, I'll bring many more stories and listen to your recommendations and feedback in the upcoming days, weeks and months. If there's a story that maybe you've written that you would like me to publish, I'll be more than happy to. I won't even read it if you want before I start talking. I didn't read those last 2 chapters on that story I hadn't read yet, so I'll try and do the same. Keeps the ending interesting for me as well. Thank you everyone. Have a lovely night. Well, that one wasn't too scary, so you should be able to still sleep pretty well. We'll see how scary we can actually get it. Thank you.